Okay, here I go. Stop playing around. I'm running behind schedule. Hey YouTube cosplayers or hair dyers, whatever you are, thank you for joining me for this video. Okay, so I wanted to do an FAQ video for the hair dye video that I did months ago because I realized that I was getting a lot of questions about that. If you have more questions after this video, please feel free to ask them in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them a lot faster than I did last time. And so yeah, let's get started. You may hear some background noises. The chomping is going to be the rabbit. The snoring is probably going to be my pet dog. And then there may be some mumbling in the background, which will be my husband. Right. Because apparently everybody wants to be in the same room with me while I'm shooting videos. It's great. I love it. So I want to start by mentioning that RIT dye is actually non-toxic, it is vegan, and it's cruelty-free. I looked that up before I used it, but I don't know that I mentioned that in the last video. And just kind of a preface to this video and all the other videos that may come after this, anything that I use, to my knowledge, is going to be vegan and cruelty-free. More so cruelty-free than vegan because sometimes you can't find both, but I'm really passionate about not testing on animals, and I believe that companies, if they choose, they don't have to test on animals to produce good products. And so my personal thing, and in this household we try very hard not to use any products that have been tested on animals because you just don't have to, you know, be mean to animals. We love animals here. Okay, so the Raven wig. I was so happy with the Raven wig. I have to say that. I was completely surprised that it actually turned out the way that it did. I did not expect it to. I used RIT dye before, and I used this kind, which is just a regular all-purpose dye. And it never worked because I was using it on synthetic hair. So the difference between synthetic hair and human hair wigs is, of course, human wigs are made with human hair and synthetic wigs are going to be made with synthetic material. Generally, that's going to be fabric-like material, which includes nylon and sometimes polyester. Sometimes synthetic wigs will have a mix of human hair in them, but for the most part, for the price that you pay for them, they're going to be all synthetic, which is all fake or all fabric. After I did some research on my favorite Google, I discovered that yes, absolutely, those can be dyed just like you would dye regular fabric. But you cannot use regular RIT dye to dye those. You have to use a synthetic RIT dye that I didn't know existed, which when I found out it existed, I was like, go to all the stores and buy all the synthetic RIT dye. So when you use a synthetic dye for synthetic material, that's what will actually color the hair. If you use a regular dye, it's not going to budge it at all. Like it won't budge the color, it won't move it. It's going to be like, you know, for my jet black, my natural jet black hair color, it would be like putting Manic Panic or a rinse over it and expecting to have bright purple hair. With that being said, I realized that I could dye all the wigs with all the synthetic hair dye, and I want to show you where I purchased my synthetic dye. So I'm going to switch scenes real quick to show you that. Okay, we're on our way in, and I'm going to show you guys exactly the kind of dye that I purchased to dye my synthetic wig. Alright, so here we go. We love Hobby Lobby. I am terrible at vlogging, so excuse me for all of the footage. Okay, in our Hobby Lobby, the hair dye, or synthetic dye, or RIT dye, whatever, is actually in our sewing section. So let's head over there. Okay. Alright, so you can see all of the sewing trinkets and everything along the wall, but here is the section with all of the hair dyes, and they'll be with the needles, and next to more needles, and next to pins and things like that. So here we are. You see all the arrays of colors, and you've got all of the dyes up here, box dyes right here, and then more bottle dyes down here. What I used for my Raven wig was this dye right here, and you can see that it is a synthetic dye, and it says that right there, Dye More Synthetic. That's Midnight Navy. I think I used purple. Well, right here, this is the one I used. They all look the same through the camera, but see right here, synthetic. And so it's really important that when you're coming to pick out hair dye for your wigs, if your wigs are not human hair, that you buy the synthetic. And it's really easy to get them confused because you could pick up like a purple, but this is just going to be for regular fabric and it's not going to say synthetic. This is going to say all-purpose dye, and you don't want that one. You want the one that says synthetic. The same with the box dyes. These are perfect for fabric, but they're not going to do anything if you're trying to use them for a wig. Because remember that wigs are actually made of, synthetic wigs are actually made of fabric and not real hair. So you can't dye them using the regular dyes. Now, if any of you have questions about these Dylan dyes, I can't tell you anything about those because I'm not really sure. They just say permanent fabric dye, but they don't say that you can use them on synthetic fabrics. So just remember that, do your research when you're buying them. But RIT is going to be your best bet, and they come in an array of colors, so hopefully you can mix and match to get what you want. I'll put the website link for you to their website where it shows you the colors that you can combine to get different colors for your wigs or fabrics or whatever. All right. Right. Always having fun at Hobby Lobby. So this wig is the Raven wig, and it's the wig that I'm wearing right now, and you can see that it's still very bright purple. I can actually get up and come up close so that you can see the color up close. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It's got even kind of the highlights in there because the original wig was a bright pink color, but it had kind of the dimension in it. And so where you can see I had more blue in the water, where the wig touched more blue, and then here you can see where I had a little more purple in the water, and you can still see that there are even some strips of that leftover pink color that the original wig actually was. So yeah, this is the wig. I'm wearing it. It is freshly washed and freshly brushed, and so I just wanted to come on and show you the wig on my person. I'm gonna put a picture right here for you to see the original color of the original wig. I don't want anyone to think that I'm being or misleading you as to how the original wig looked. I received it from an Etsy shop, so I don't know like the cap dimensions or any of those kinds of details, but I will try to get those for you and include them in the comment section below. So the wig was bright pink, and when I opened it, I was disappointed because online it actually looked this color. So I thought, oh crap, that's not the color of Raven's hair. I'm not going to be able to use this. It's too close to con. I'm probably not going to get, you won't get another one in the mail on time. So I was really scrambling, just trying to figure out what I could do, and that's when I did the research and discovered that I could dye this wig. So it was a complete experiment. It may not have worked, but I'm really glad that it did. As you can see here, the wig was bright pink, and that was absolutely not going to work. Before we get to the questions, actually let me point out a little bit still with the difference between synthetic and human hair wigs. You can absolutely dye human hair wigs because they are human hair, but you'll use human hair dye. So if you have a wig that may be brown in color or even black, you can bleach a wig, a human hair wig. You can bleach it and then dye it the color that you need. My advice is always to go with an already blonde or like gray silver, bright blonde wig, even platinum white, because you'll get the results that you want a lot better and a lot quicker than if you try to bleach it. Plus, there's so many steps in bleaching, and it's just, I tried it and it was like it was a pain. I hated it and it wasn't fun for me. It worked, but it wasn't fun. So you can dye human hair wigs any color you want. Just remember that the lighter the wig, the easier it is to get the color that you actually want. The darker the wig, the harder it's going to get to that color, and it may end up being kind of like this, where you've got a dark wig and then it just has a subtle highlight or a subtle color change that you can see if you're kind of in the sun. So that's just a little bit on dyeing human hair wigs versus dyeing synthetic wigs. Yeah, let's get to the questions. Alright, so the first question is, did the dye color the pot? Did you use an old one? I used a pot that I've actually had for many years, and I really like it. It's a stainless steel pot, and it's this one. So it's huge. I love it. It fit the amount of water that I needed, and for this length wig, it was perfect. So no, it's not an old one, but you can see that it didn't dye the wig, or dye the pot, I mean. As I said before, since this product is vegan and cruelty free, the vegan part lets me know that it's probably safe. It's also non-toxic, so it's definitely safe. Now, I'm not going to pour it in my food or anything like that, but I felt okay just washing this pot with really hot water, rinsing it with boiling water, and soap. Just a mild soap was fine, and I feel safe using this to, you know, boil water for like spaghetti noodles or something. I don't know. I'm hungry. So the next question was actually a comment on curly hair and trying this on curly hair. I would not feel comfortable trying to dye any wig with RIT synthetic dye with curly hair. Only because when you have curls and you put them in hot water, as hot as you need to get the water to actually dye the wig, then it will relax the curls. All the curls will fall out, and I don't think that it would dry the same. You could try it with cool water, but I'm not sure if it'll work. I plan on actually experimenting with that because obviously I have nothing else to do. I wanted to just kind of try it with a cool water rinse and see if the dye would even take on the curly wig. But no, I would not do any of this with the boiling hot water with the temperature that you need to have the water with curly hair, because it will ruin the integrity of the curls on that wig. Someone asked why wet it first. And I have two reasons. The first reason being because the instructions said to, and I'm really a stickler when I'm using products like hair dye or anything like that to stick with the instructions, because I think that the people know what they're talking about when they write the instructions for the most part. But the second reason is actually, I think of dyeing my real hair. And when you dye your real hair, when you, again, open the instructions and you read it, it says that you need to actually have your hair shampooed at least 24 hours before you use the dye. And that's because you need to cleanse all of the oils and everything off of the surface of your hair so that the hair dye can actually take to the hair. It can actually stick to it and turn the hair fibers the color that you're trying to get them. If you have hair that has been coated with, say, like my real natural hair would have gel on it, then the color, the dye is not going to stick as well to that because it's going to wash off just alongside the dye. So you're just piling stuff on top of stuff. And when you purchase the wig, you're not really sure exactly what they put on the wig to package it, how long it's been sitting in a warehouse, where it came from. So you actually really want to wash your wigs before you wear them, but you absolutely want to wash all of the oils and potential products off of the wig before you dye it. And that's just to help the dye stick to the hair fibers. This next comment says, it's literally the same color after. And I thought that was kind of cute. I don't know how the person meant it, but it's not. It's absolutely not the same color after. Again, here's the picture that shows how bright pink the wig was. And because I took that picture on my cell phone, it's not even going to be as bright as the wig was when I took it out of the package. If there hadn't been a difference, then more than likely I wouldn't have posted the video, because then it meant it wouldn't have worked. There's something in my throat. La 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 la. Okay. So the next question says, I'm confused. Was the water boiling the entire time you were putting in the dye and the hair, and while you let it sit for 30 minutes? Okay. I apologize that I did not explain that better in the last video. So when I put what I called in my last video the temperature stick into the pot, which my husband informed me that it's actually called a thermometer, which I knew, but sometimes I just lose words when I'm doing videos. I can't think of everything. That's why he's here, because he knows stuff. So when you put the thermometer in the water and it reaches 180 degrees, I believe is what the instructions say, then it needs to stay at as close to, I guess, that temperature as possible as you're dyeing the wig before you put the color in. But I turned the stove down to low because I didn't want it to continue boiling. So once it reached the temperature, I turned the stove down to low and kept it there while I dyed the wig and as I was stirring the wig. And yes, it stayed there for 30 minutes. So once you turn the water down and it stops boiling, that's when I added the dye. And I mixed the dye. I mixed kind of a royal purple and a midnight blue until I got this color, this kind of violet raven color that I needed. And then I was able to stir it up and put the hair inside of the pot. you don't want to make the water boiling, because then it will mess up also, again, like the same with curly hair, I believe, it'll mess up the fibers of the hair. So even though the wig is straight, you don't want the hairs to stick together. You don't want to mess it up or frizz it out, because again, it's kind of like fabric, and you just have to be really careful as possible with the wig when you're dealing with it. So no, don't use boiling water, or don't have the water boiling while you're dyeing the hair. All right, this question says, will it work on dark hair like 1B to a ginger orange color? I think it will. However, you have to keep in mind that when you're dyeing darker wigs, you're not going to get as intense a color as you would if you're dyeing a lighter color wig. So for those of you who may not know, 1B hair is going to be an off black color. So most of us who have maybe black hair, we don't maintain jet black hair throughout the course of our lives. For me, I've got some gray hairs that I'm always trying to hide, but if you're out in the sun, your hair color fades, and so a general normal black hair color is going to be 1B, unless you dye your hair jet black or you're just blessed with jet black hair. So 1B hair, trying to color that is going to be a little more difficult than a lighter colored wig, but you'll get a look, I think, probably like this one at the top of my hair, where it just kind of has a very subtle purple or red or whatever color you're using. It'll give it a subtle rinse, especially because you're using a synthetic dye. I believe it's more concentrated and a little stronger. So definitely try it and you'll get a really nice rinsed look, but I don't think you're gonna get that really vibrant, intense purple, like, you know, closer to the bottom of this wig. And that's because the bottom of this wig was brighter than the top of the wig, and that's why it grows more intense, like an ombre look. But I think it would still be pretty, so definitely try it. With a ginger colored wig, it'll be lighter, and so keep in mind that ginger is a reddish color, a red kind of peachish, I guess, if that's a word, color. And so depending on the results that you want, you may have to do a little mixing and matching of colors. Say you want to turn a ginger colored wig to blue, you may have to use a little green to offset the orange or the red in it. So always think of the color wheel when you're mixing the RIT dyes, and think of the colors that kind of correspond when you're dyeing a wig that's already colored and not like white, platinum, or blonde. I'm going to provide a link in the comment section below to the actual RIT website. RIT Dye has a really cool thing on their website where they show you that you can mix certain colors to get a resulting color. So if you're looking for like a peony, for instance, which is, I think, maybe like a lilac, pinkish purple, I don't know where I pulled that color from, then the website can show you the two colors or the two dyes that you'll need to mix to get that color. You will have more options with the regular all-purpose dye from RIT. You'll have less options or less colors available to you with the synthetic dye, but you can get kind of a general idea of the kinds of colors that you need to mix to get a good result. So always keep the colors in mind, and the color wheel, primary colors, and all of that, so that you don't like pour blue in water and then put a ginger wig in there and then get a green wig back. It'll be cool, but it won't be what you're looking for. The next question is, will this work for 613 hair too? Yes, it will. Probably a little better than the ginger or the 1B. And again, I had to look this up because I'm not always familiar with the synthetic wig colors, but 613 is, I think, more of a blonde. Yes, that'll be much easier to change than a 1B or off black colored wig. Again, keep in mind the color wheel. Keep in mind that blonde is going to be closer to yellow sometimes, and so you want to offset that yellow to get the pure shade that you're looking for. The next question is, do you think I can go from burgundy red to plum? Like, they're almost similar, it's just I like plum better. Right, I do too. I like plum much better than burgundy. And again, you can go from burgundy red to plum. You'll just have to kind of think of the mixture of colors. So burgundy red is going to be probably a warmer color. Plum is also warm, so you may need to use a cooler shade to get to that color. And you may have to kind of mix and match several times. You can pull the hair out of the water as you're dyeing it to see what it's looking like, and then add colors or add shades in as you need them. But I think to go from a red to a plum, you'll need a blue. And I think you'll probably have to add a little bit of green to it, or maybe even a little yellow, I think. Don't quote me on that. To get to a plum color. Plum has several shades, so you'll have to just, I guess, kind of determine what shade plum that you're looking for. I think it would be a beautiful wig, and plum is definitely a really pretty color, so definitely try it and then, you know, come back and show me how that works out for you. The next question is, yes, please do tell us if this color bleeds when wet or rubs off on clothing. So that was one of my main reasons for washing the wig and drying it and then styling it before coming on to do this video. It never, ever, ever has run off, you know, when I've worn it. So I wore it to con, it was sweaty, it was hot, and so I was sweating through the wig. Sweat never dripped purple onto my neck or onto my shoulders or my costume, which was great. It didn't bleed in when I washed it in the water or anything like that. And it definitely has never come out on my hands when I've brushed it or in my brush. I'd show you my brush, but it kind of looks a little crazy right now. So it's just a wooden brush and it never changes color. I have quite a few wigs that are dyed or that have been colored, and I've never had any problems with it bleeding. So no, it doesn't bleed when wet. I'm really excited about that because if I get caught in rain, the last thing I need is like purple dripping onto my face. So it's perfectly safe. I think because it's meant to dye fabric, it's meant to stay. It's definitely permanent, and I think that is a big plus for using RIT dye. Another comment I got was one of my favorites. Oh my god, this is the best news ever. Because it is. So now I'm thinking I want to dye this wig and I want to dye this wig, and I can get like any color cosplay and I can dye the wig to match if I want, or match my outfits that I wear to con. It's gonna be a good day in the RIT dye universe because we can now use synthetic dye, and I'm just finding out about it, so it's new to me and I love every minute of it. So yes, it is the best news ever. Okay, so this comment and question says, thanks for sharing my favorite color. Mine too. I own a dread wig in burgundy all over. I hate it. I was looking to dye it black. Hope this works because I definitely love the style of it. So yes, absolutely, because you're looking to dye your lock wig from a lighter color to black, it is going to work. And you may not even have to keep it in the water as long. Now, a locked wig is going to be curled. So I hesitate to say definitely try it putting it in the hot water. Just be really, really careful because like we said before with a curly wig, you may lose the integrity of the locks. Now, if the locks are made like my Poison Ivy wig, which I'll put a picture of here, I actually twisted the hair into the hair and matted it into the hair. So it's not some of the typical kind of lock wigs that you'll find in the store that are curled into lock looking shapes. They're actual locks. So if I dipped those locks in boiling or hot water, they wouldn't unravel or wouldn't lose their shape. However, some of the curled locked wigs will uncurl and lose their shape. So be very, very careful. It depends on the type of locks that you're working with, but I definitely think that you can move the color from a lighter color to black, even if you have to use cooler water. So good luck. Tell me how that turns out. I'm really excited to hear about that. Another comment I received was, I really liked your video and how you documented everything. Easy to follow. Great job on the wig. That means so much to me, and I want to thank that follower for that comment because this really was a last minute decision to post this video. I took footage because I wanted to document for myself how I was doing it, and I ended up using that footage in the last video, so that was great. It worked out really well, and I was happy to post that. I really just want to teach you guys or show you guys things that I'm learning along my cosplay journey and when I'm experimenting with wigs and fabrics and things, because it just makes it easier for the rest of us. So if you got something out of that last video, thank you. If you got something out of this video, I'm really happy about that, and I hope that I can continue sharing videos to help you guys out. I did receive a suggestion that the next time I do a video like that, I should talk through it, and I completely agree with that. I would try that next time. It takes a little more with editing and kind of having to start and stop and do all that, but I think that that will be more beneficial to you guys so that at the moment, in the moment, you can actually hear what's going on and what I'm doing, and things, you know, misunderstandings like temperature and boiling and things like that wouldn't happen because I would have explained it already. So I'm happy to do this video, this FAQ, and that's actually all I have for questions. And if you have any other questions, please post them in the comment section and I'll answer those in the comment section as well. I plan on having a lot more videos coming for you guys, a lot more cosplay videos, some plus size cosplay videos for those of you who may be working with a little more material on your bodies and need more material in your clothes. So that's what I'm here to do, and that's how I want to help. More wig videos because I'm planning on redoing a poison ivy wig. Probably not in the near future, but that will be coming up soon. I want to try my hand at some different kinds of materials for wigs, so keep that in mind. If you want more of what I'm doing, some of my cosplays, cons, and things like that, please follow me on Instagram. All of that information is below, and I'll be happy to have you there. And also, these videos are made possible by my patrons, and I thank you so much for supporting and believing in me. If you would like to support what I'm doing, cosplay videos, wig videos, and tutorials that I have coming up for some of my favorite accessories for my cosplay, then please consider supporting me. I will put the link to my Patreon page below so that you can go to it and see some of the things that aren't necessarily available to the general public, and I hope to see you there as well. Again, thank you for watching my video, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you are trying or have dyed a wig using the RIT dye and it comes because you learned something from my video, please share it, and I'll be happy to actually feature some of your dyed wigs on my next video. That'll be really fun. You can see yourself on a video. So yeah, definitely share it with me. I'd love to see some of the colors that you guys are coming up with, and stay tuned for the next video. I will talk to you guys later. Bye!